Time is heating up at Global Voice Broadcasting. Hot music, hot talk, and hot topics. All day, every day. 24/7. You don't want to miss a minute on Global Voice Broadcasting.
I highly recommend Ms. Hicks. Her books, her CDs are encouraging.
I bought her book, A Hill to Climb. She's a very inspirational speaker.
And I look forward to one day being able to work with her.
Your power lies within you. Let it loose.
Aspiration, inspiration, motivation, edification, determination. These are the keys of life success, brought to you by none other than award-winning author, motivational lecturer, business consultant, and much more, as she gets you aimed to your purpose. And now, ladies and gentlemen, young and elder, from Hollywood to the entire world, here is your host of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, Louise Hicks, along with her co-host, yours truly, Kennon Wesley Mason.
Hello, world. How is everybody today? And welcome to Aim to Purpose, the radio show. And I'm your host, Louise Hicks.
And I am your co-host, Kennon Mason. And as always, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone listening and watching Aim to Purpose, the radio show, as we bring you another special live broadcast celebrating or continuing to celebrate our 2-year anniversary on the air here at Global Voice Broadcasting, as we bring you this edition, The Law of Raw, Health Tips and Reclaiming Your 2016 Fitness Goals, with our special guest today, Terri Liggins.
And we will be welcoming Terri onto the show in just a little bit. But before then, we always like to share with you our weekend and let you know kind of what we did and how it went. And I had a great weekend. Some of it was kind of sad. I attended a very close friend, family, almost like family's funeral. So that's life, though. We know we didn't come to stay forever. So that's why it's so important, too, to take care of ourselves. And that was Saturday. But Sunday, I had such a blast from the past. And I know you all hear us talking about mental health on the show. You know that I'm an advocate for those who really know me. And this is really good because we're segueing into health, actually. And Terri is going to give us some tips on healthiness and how to reclaim your healthiness. And we're going to talk about baby boomers. And I am a baby boomer. So we'll be talking about that. And I had an opportunity, thanks to my niece, who gave me some tickets to go to see the 70s show. And I call it they call it the 70s Soul Jam, where we had the stylistics, the emotions, the main ingredients, featuring Cuba Gooding Sr., and it was awesome. I had a great time. I got my T-shirt on, got my hat on. Today, I wanted to wear my souvenirs and show them off, of course. But it was a great show, and it was about music for the soul. And we know music is good for the soul. Music has a healing effect, and so does food, because I went and stuffed my stomach before we got to the music. And we know both music and food, they are good for the soul, and they have a healing effect. And one thing I can say that I really enjoyed about the show, the music was so respectful. It was refreshing to go to a show where you can understand the lyrics. The music was very respectful because it was old school, the oldies but goodies. And I mean, they did a dynamic, amazing, fantastic job. It was like reliving those days again. So I had a great time. So how was your weekend, Ken?
My weekend was great, and we should have a show kind of going back to this era here. the 70s are one of my favorite, actually my favorite decade.
Yeah.
The styles of that era, you see people wearing styles from that era now, which just goes to show you that everything kind of comes back. Everything revolves. Everything comes back anew once again. And like you said, segueing into the topic, everyone has the opportunity to make themselves healthy or healthier. We're in the middle of summer now, and we're going to get some tips of healthy living from a Rawtarian, as she calls herself, the law of raw expert, Terri Liggins. So I'm looking forward to that, because these kind of topics are right up my alley. Better health, better healthy body, healthy mind, healthy spirit. So I can't wait for the talk.
And that's what I had last night. And I want to show you all my T-shirt right quick. Can you see it?
There
Am
it
I in
is.
the camera? There it is. And I just love it. There's the rest
Stylistics, the emotions, and the main ingredient.
And it was awesome. And this will be a keepsake, of course, and my hat too. So had a great time. And it was really good for the mind, body, and spirit, because I left just feeling so stress-free. And that's what healthy living is all about. You live stress-free. So with that said, what we're going to do is, unless, Ken, you have anything else, we're going to go and take a break, and then we're going to come back. And we have a little video clip to show you when we come back before we introduce our guest. So let's take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and talk about healthy living.
That's right. It's Aim to Purpose, the radio show, The Law of Raw. Healthy tips and reclaiming your 2016 fitness goals with our special guest, Terri Liggins. We'll be right back.
Hello, world! It's the 2-year anniversary of Aim to Purpose, the radio show. So first, we want to thank everyone at Global Voice Broadcasting for the opportunity to share our views and opinions with the global audience. Go to gbbbstudios.com/show/A2P. Next, we thank our wonderful guests that have graced the airwaves of A2P throughout the second year. Guests like U.S. President of Citizens Commission on Human Rights, Bruce Wiseman, author and founder of World Class Wrecking Crew, Alonzo Williams, retired family practitioner and author, Dr. Gary Coles, M.D., minister and life coach, Jewel Diamond Taylor, Dr. Fitness USA, Stephen Hersey, author of Holy Lockdown, Jeremiah Kamara, legendary actor, film director, and producer, Bill Duke, author and holistic health advocate, Dr. Layla Ali, author and speaker, Carrie Zane, Dr. O from Wellness Group of America, and many other guests that have openly shared their stories, knowledge, humor, wit, and wisdom with the A2P universe. And most of all, we thank you, the listening and viewing audience, for tuning in each and every week and tuning in to our archive shows on YouTube at Aim to Purpose Radio. Information is power, and the more our audience grows, the more we can give back to the audience, which makes all of us powerful. So we encourage all of you to spread the word about Aim to Purpose, the radio show. Lastly, if you'd like to advertise or sponsor the show, contact Shamika Brown at 1-818-533-8463. So keep tuning in as we continue into our third year, and we thank you again. This is Kennon Mason, co-host of Aim to Purpose, the radio show.
Suicide. You may not have heard of that word before, but as soon as you hear it, you can just imagine what it means. Eating those things that taste oh so good, but are just oh so bad for you. I'm finishing up my book called Get Your Raw On, and it will tell you about how I went from a standard American diet to eating raw in just one day. I took a stand after hearing about all the dangers of food to our bodies, to those who we love. We see what's happening, and I made a choice. And what I am noticing now is that generally people eat from an emotional standpoint instead of an intelligent standpoint.
Yes, you saw that video? That was awesome. And now we're going to go ahead and give you more about Miss Terri Liggins. She's already shared some of herself, so we're going to give you more.
Yes, Terry's mantra is get your raw on. Terri has a passion for helping female baby boomers reach and win a balanced, healthy lifestyle. Terri says that female baby boomers are sandwiched between caring for children or grandchildren while tending to elderly parents under the same roof, around town or across the country, often placing their own well-being secondary or not at all. Terri's favorite pastime turned profession is blogging about various topics from a professional, creative, and spiritual perspective. With both children in college and beyond, and with a new angle of reflection, she began the blog project called My Empty Nest, a never-ending state of thanksgiving. Terri Liggins is the author of Get Your Raw On, Reach and Win, the transition from foods that damage your body to foods that heal you. In the book, she shares her journey of surviving a heart attack at age 40 to transforming her life by becoming a Rawtarian. She continues to share lifestyle tips, recipes, and resources via her website. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to Aim to Purpose, the radio show, Miss Terri Liggins.
Hello, Terri. How are you?
Hello. I'm doing well. How are you?
Wonderful. And thank you so much for joining us today. We are so excited about having you on the show because we know a lot of us, here we are in July, and a lot of us made all those New Year's resolutions. And I wonder, did we keep them? Probably not. Most of us probably didn't. But, I mean, that's why we have experts like you to come on the show and help us. Maybe we can kind of get back on track. And, I mean, when I read your bio and you said you had a heart attack at 40, I mean, that's scary. And I can only imagine what that was like. So share a little bit with us what that was like. And when did this happen?
Well, let's see. The thing that is surprising is that it really wasn't shocking at the time, and it was because I was just too involved in what I was doing. And I was, as you said before, I was age 40 at the time. I was married, had 2 small children, and was fully employed and just busy. So I was having heart palpitations and a little bit of chest pains, and I thought, oh, it's indigestion. Pop a couple antacids, went to bed. The next day, this problem was still occurring, and I thought, no big deal. I went on to work. It wasn't until like midway through the day, and a couple coworkers had convinced me to go to the urgent care center. And I said, okay, I will. This is going on long enough. I will. But not until I first went to the children's daycare, after school daycare center, picked them up, got them home, got dinner ready, got their homework situated, left a note for the husband saying I'm going to the urgent care center. And then while I was there, they said, call your husband. You're not going anywhere. You're being admitted to the hospital because you have had a heart attack. Well, I said, no, I don't have time for a heart attack. And so I tell you all those details to show you just how out of balance I was. So whereas it should have, and it should have been something alarming, I was just too involved in putting everything else and everyone else first. And so I didn't look sick on the outside, but on the inside, I was a total wreck. So I like to say that there are a lot of baby boomers, and this is why my passion is targeted towards that audience. There are a lot of baby boomers out there who are stuck in this sandwich situation. We do have elderly parents that you're caring for either in your home or in an assisted living facility across town, and sometimes more often than not they're all the way across country. And you then have your own children in the home, or as in my case, mine are both out of college now and they're on their own, but they're still kind of in my pocket.
Right. I know.
So even though they're out of the home, they're still a little bit there. But but I just see it happen way, way too often, where we just are not putting ourselves first, putting our health first. And so we tend to let these things creep up on us when they shouldn't. And so now I like to talk a lot about preventative measures so that you don't get to that point. And for me, that was 17 years ago when that happened.
Okay.
So I've had a nice long journey back to where I am feeling quite well today. I feel better than I have felt in probably when I was in my, I don't know, late 20s or early 30s or something.
That's right.
That's
great.
Right. That's great. So you were obviously stressed, overload, everything. All those things were going on. And we're going to talk about the baby boomers a little bit later, some more, because you did mention that, and I know what that's like too. What were you eating, Terri, at the time when you recognized, you said that you made a choice, and a lot of us eat out of emotion and not intelligence, and that is so true. What were you eating by chance here? Were you eating at McDonald's or some of these burger places, fast foods all the time?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Give it up.
Yes, absolutely. I was. That's why I tell people when they give me excuses of why they cannot become vegan or, raw vegan or anything like that, I said, wait a minute. I can tell you that I was no great eater at all those years. I never had a weight problem. And so I think that just really added to the fact that I would just eat junk food and not think anything of it. Now, I didn't eat a whole lot of red meat over the course of the years, just simply by choice. I don't know that I was really attempting to do anything really healthy, but just over time, just knowing how long that stuff sits in your system, that enough was reason for me to just stop, just really cut down on that. At the time when I got ill, I was living in Texas. I lived in Texas for 14 years. And you know what? I didn't know what a vegan was. In Texas, that's a meat eating kind of place.
So, it is.
I'm from Louisiana, Terri, and believe me, I know what you're talking about. What part of Texas were you in?
I was in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Know all about it.
Yeah.
Been there, lived. I know. My mother passed
They have
away
barbecue. They have barbecuing contests out there.
Yeah, I have family in Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth. My mother was there, passed away last year there. When I stayed in Texas a lot, I'm going there pretty soon again.
Okay, yeah. So if you see any vegans, let me know, because I think they were probably closet vegans.
Probably so.
Can you please explain to our audience the difference between the vegan and the vegetarian? Because a lot of people have the confusion of which is which. Some people are afraid to go the vegan or vegetarian route. Some people are fearful. This is how locked in and conditioned we are. Some people are fearful that if you eat predominantly the fruit or the vegetable, that somehow you'll starve yourself to death, which is the misconception that if you're eating real food that nature has provided for us for umpteenth years, millions of years, that the notion is that the healthy food is bad for you, but all the junk food, what we call the standard American diet, the SAD diet, is something of significance. And we can see that the number of women over the last 3-4 decades, maybe even longer, because you mentioned heart attack, the number of women having heart attacks has grown over the last few decades, because they are taking on all of the burdens. Like you said, they're taking care of their children, the grandchildren. They're taking care of their parents in the house, outside the house, around the corner. They're taking care of the neighbors if they can, taking on the weight of the world. Most of your heart attacks happen between 8 and 9 a.m. on Monday mornings. That's a statistical fact.
It is.
So please explain the difference, because there is a misconception, the difference between vegan and vegetarian.
Sure. And well, let me tell you, before I went raw, I was never a vegetarian and I was never even a vegan. And so I knew very little about the whole vegan lifestyle. I did eat some, I would eat at a vegetarian restaurant from time to time just because it was there and I knew, it's a little bit of healthiness here.
Right.
And the food tasted good. But there are a lot of sick vegetarians out there.
That's right.
There are a lot of unhealthy
That's
vegetarians
right.
out there.
Yes.
A lot of overweight vegetarians.
Yes.
And for the life of me, I cannot understand the whole concept of becoming a vegetarian if you really, really look at what that diet consists of. What a vegetarian means is that you are just not eating meat. But and people do it for health reasons, for moral reasons, whatever, and and I do respect that and such. But if anyone is doing it primarily for a healthy reason, that's where I'm a little confused, because what you find them eating are cookies and potato chips.
That's right.
And all of these things that they say are okay to eat because it's not meat. Well, okay, meat in and of itself, there's a whole lot of issues, and that'll probably take a whole show to talk about that.
It will.
But,
yes.
But the sugar, people are forgetting about the dangers of sugar.
Yeah.
And when you cut out the meat, but then you're including all of that sugar in your diet, that just cannot be good. If you're still drinking any type of sodas with all of that sugar in the soda, that can't be good. So yes, the vegetarian is the person that is just plain, not eating meat, and so they'll substitute it for, with tofu and other types of things. They'll still eat fish and poultry and such.
Right.
Or no, I think they don't eat poultry either, but I know that they eat fish. So then you have the vegan who does not eat they take it to another level, and they don't eat the meat and they don't eat dairy products either.
Right.
And so when you are cutting out all of the dairy, you're doing a real great thing to your body. Because again, all the hormones, all the things that are in dairy products. Milk alone, we are the only species on this earth who drink the milk of another species.
Yes.
You don't see the calf out there drinking goat's milk.
That's
you don't see the goat drinking some giraffe milk or anything like that.
That's right.
We were not designed
to
drink cow's milk.
And we guzzle it down like it's the greatest thing on earth. And then years later, here comes osteoporosis. Here comes your bones weakening. And also what happens when you drink cow's milk, especially the 1%, the 2%, and God forbid the non-fat milk, your body has to release all of its alkaline faculties from your bones because the body is now in an acidic state.
Yes.
Because the cow's milk is not designed for human consumption. If you were to feed, if you feed cow's milk, or if you feed human mother's milk to a baby calf, within 30 days they'll either be totally sick or dead. If you were to feed a baby calf homogenized or pasteurized milk, within 30 to 60 days they will be very sick or dead. The composition of cow's milk is 10 times that of the human baby, that weighs 8 pounds on average when it comes out the womb, versus a baby calf that comes out of the womb weighing 80 pounds.
Wow.
So right. And this is the kind of milk that we drink for ourselves, and this is the kind of milk that we give to our children. Hence, all of the colic, the ear infections, the clogged nose, the colds, the flus, all of these things that children get at these young ages, and the parents are dumbfounded and don't know the reasons why. It's very simple.
And yeah, it's very simple. Excuse me. Excuse me, because they don't, typically we don't do our own research. Right. We were not taught to do our own research, and so we rely on the medical profession, which, bottom line, they're in business to make money. And as a patient, you're not making money to them if you're well. So to the industry, to that whole industry, you are a client. Right. And so typically, what do you want to do with a client? You want to keep a client, right?
That's right. That's right.
Until they die.
That's right.
Right, until they die. And then you have more clients waiting in the wings.
That's right.
More prospective clients.
Right.
But I was, I was today, I spent the better part of my day, really against my better wishes, in an urgent care center. I had something happen on Saturday. I just wanted to make sure there weren't any broken, well, I didn't really think it was broken. I really thought my ankle was sprained, but it just really became inflamed and painful, and it was very swollen. And I think come to find out, it's a bite. It must have been like, I don't know, like a spider bite or something. Right. But I went to the urgent care center today, and while sitting there waiting, I was just, I would say I would be appalled if it weren't for the fact that I've done so much research on just really the inside of health industry. Right. I got a second master's degree, and it's in health law. Mm-hmm. And so, but in this doctor's office, they had this electronic device where it's like, this is in the actual patient's room too, where there's live streaming. It's like a digital commercial, or it's like, commercials going nonstop, and then these little excerpts telling you this and that. Well, this one was about vitamin D deficiency. And it said, do you have vitamin D deficiencies? Da, da, da. And then they just said, well, here's how to, in essence, what they were saying, here's how to cure it. Proper sun exposure, fortified milk. I'm like, oh my goodness, I wanted to come out of the chair if it weren't for my ankle hurting. I would have jumped out of the chair. Right. But, milk, cow's milk has a protein in it that plays a huge role in triggering diabetes. Cow's milk has casein in it. That's what the protein is called, casein. It promotes cancer. And here they are showing this and promoting it in the urgent care center, in doctor's offices, in hospitals. And you're sitting there thinking, oh, well, this is the healthy way to go. It must be because the health scare system is telling me to do this.
Right. Well, we are so indoctrinated. That's the thing, because I know what you're talking about. I do a lot of social media, and I often talk about these things because I've been dealing with the medical industry since basically 1995, when my youngest son was 14 and diagnosed with a rare bone cancer. And since that time, I have been dealing with this system, and I've found how broken the medical system is. And like you said, Terri, it's by design to keep patients. That's their livelihood. And if they didn't have these clients, these patients, they would have to reinvent themselves. And believe me, it's getting worse instead of getting better, because I'm still dealing with it with my son, who has an infection right now and just got out of the hospital recently, last week actually, back into another subacute facility. And I tell you, talking to these doctors, they really, until they realize that you're not stupid, they tend to talk down to you because they don't realize that you've done your homework and done your research. And you're so right. You must do your homework and your research so that you can let them know you cannot bully me, because they have a tendency to bully the patients because they figure, oh, they don't know anything. We'll just tell them anything because we need to keep a lifetime patient. And that blows your health and keep us from living our best life. And I know you talk about partnering with your healthcare profession. Give us some insight and tips on what we should be doing as lay people in looking out for our health and partnering with our healthcare professional.
Yes, definitely do that. And there are some terrific physicians out there. I know we must, make that disclaimer.
Absolutely.
Terrific
Yes.
nurses. A lot of nurses are very, very knowledgeable, and they have to be, because they're, seeing people with illnesses across the board, whereas sometimes a physician is a specialized one. But the healthcare system itself is what's so broken that if we are not staying on top of it ourselves, it is just it's not a place to go and get well. When I was diagnosed after the heart attack, it took 6 months of biopsies and exams and all kind of tests and such for them to come up with the diagnosis. What they came up with was sarcoidosis, and I don't know if either of you have heard of sarcoidosis.
Yes, I've
before.
heard of it. That's what Benny Mack, they said, had, and I don't know whether that's what he died of, but I heard that's what he had. But tell us what it is. Tell us what it is.
Okay, yes, the comedian Bernie Mac, yes, he did die from complications of sarcoidosis. It is a disease that has no known cure because it has no known cause. But they kind of lump a lot of people in this category. It has symptoms back in the 1948 when they first came up with a name for it, so to speak. It had symptoms that were similar to TB, tuberculosis, and it's an autoimmune disease. And it's an environmental disease. So it's not hereditary, it's not contagious. It's when they say hereditary, or when they say environmental, right away that tells you, okay, it's just from whatever. I mean, we breathe in yeast in the air.
Right.
We breathe in stuff, and there's just I mean, we already have a certain amount in our body, and then we breathe in more, and that can be a problem. And then the food we eat and everything else, that's in the environment adds to this. The only way they ever treat it, mine and with most people I have spoken with, is with steroids. Prednisone for me. And when you read up on steroids, guess what? They cause cancer. So it's like, okay, here you go, take this. If you don't have cancer now, you will after you continue to take this. And so I told my doctor, no, thank you. After a short while of taking it, I took myself off of it. And let me tell you, to anyone in your listening audience, do not do that without the assistance of a physician. That stuff is some really powerful stuff. It's horrible.
Yes,
and
it is. I know what you're talking about because I had become ill through my job, encountered some mold stuff that I was allergic to. That stuff is deadly, and that's what they had given me. So I know I only took it for, I think, 5-7 days or something, and I told the doctor no. They wanted to give me more. I said no, because I do my homework and I research and I take care of me. And you are right. We have to start looking out for our own best interests in our health, because these people are trying to get their boats, their yachts, their 2 and 3, 5 and 10 homes, their children through private school, medical school, law school, whatever they're doing. So they're not thinking about you as a patient. They're thinking about their profits.
And a lot of doctors, most doctors, all doctors probably have not had nutritional classes.
Absolutely.
In your traditional medical schools, they have less than 1 semester, and I believe some have said they don't even have any of that. They don't have nutritional. So when you talk to a doctor about nutrition, they kind of don't want to hear it. Again, there are some very good doctors out there.
Yes,
there are some very progressive ones who do tell you, and naturopaths, of course, who will tell you that food is the perfect medicine. And so you have to fire your doctor if he or she is not one who is going to ascribe to the fact that nutrition heals. You don't want to say it heals you, but what it does, it allows
makes a
your
difference.
Body.
But you can't. But the thing is that you cannot, here in America, you can't use the word cure.
I know.
I mean, that cure is the other 4-letter word.
Yeah.
If you dare use the word cure, you got some attacks coming to you.
Yeah. I would really love for any one person, though, to take this journey, and then they will become their own living testimony.
That's right.
And then whether
That's
they're
right.
not allowed to use the word cure or not,
That's
they
right.
will know for a fact.
That's right.
I lived with sarcoidosis for 12 years. I had episodes that had me one time in the ICU. I know my symptoms, back to what sarcoidosis is, it is an autoimmune disease that attacks anywhere in your body where you have tissue. So guess what? That's pretty much everywhere. Your skin
right?
is tissue. And so mine happened to be in my lungs.
Okay.
And so I have swollen lymph nodes in my lungs, and it would cause excruciating pain with every breath that I would take. And it would just, when I would have these episodes, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't move, and just, you're just paralyzed. Every breath you take, it's just another stabbing pain in your chest that it's just hard to describe. But then the other symptoms were edema and, just shortness of breath. I couldn't even go up one flight of stairs without having to stop and, regain myself after, reaching the top and just trying to catch my breath. At one point I had to be carried up and down the stairs because the muscles in my legs were so weakened. And I truly believe that was probably more so from the medicine than the illness itself.
I
Right.
think
But
you're right.
for
You're
12
right about that, because
Yeah.
I know they had me on 7 different medications at one time. I told my doctor, I'm not taking these medications anymore. Fortunately, I had one of the good doctors, and he believed in integrative alternative medicines as well. He sent me to an acupuncturist, and that's what started me to come back. I'm 65, and I'm not on any medications now.
Great.
And this was
Awesome.
years ago, back in the early 2000s. So you're right about what you're saying. So what else did you do to get... Oh, go ahead, Ken.
Really quick, I want to go back to the milk and hormones real quick, because this affects women. You were talking about the baby boomers and a lot of the female baby boomers. Going back to milk and the commercialized milk, women have to know that every time they drink commercial milk, they are getting hormone replacement therapy automatically. And these hormones that are injected into these cows become a part of that woman. And so the entire hormonal system, if you will, in the woman gets screwed up. And this is how you see different, the mood swings and things of this nature, because of there's a transformation, there's a huge change and a shift within the female body. There's no reason that the female or male body should be attacking itself, which is what we called autoimmune. But it can, because of all the stuff. We abuse the temple.
Yep.
We abuse it to the highest degree, and then all of a sudden, when these symptoms start to occur, which leads me to my question about real food versus fake food. This milk that we drink, or any processed food for that matter, because our produce is being processed, the genetically manipulated food. Now we have this salmon that's been approved by the FDA, this genetically modified salmon that's put on the market now. All of these different foods, they call them Franken foods now.
Is that like the monster Frankenstein?
That's right. That's right. The the genetic manipulation of our food supply.
Yeah.
And this is why we see, this is one of the major reasons why we see the illnesses that we do today. You name the disease here in America, we have it.
Yeah, we're worse off in terms of disease than any civilized country in the world, actually. But that sarcoidosis.
So give us some examples of the real food versus the fake food
that helped you too with your sarcoidosis, and let us know how that helped you to. Are you considered healed from it now, or what?
When I started learning about real food, when I started learning the science behind food, my eyes were really opened. This was in 2012. I had one of the worst episodes. Well, I had a really bad one in 2011 that had me in the ICU. At that time that I was in ICU, my very best friend of 38 years was in a hospital in Dallas, and I did not know how serious her situation that she had been going through had gotten. And I was her medical power of attorney, right? And I was living in Chicago at the time in 2011 when I was in ICU. When I got out 3 days later, I received a phone call from her saying that she was going into surgery. The doctor had diagnosed her with pancreatic cancer. We were both just in our early 50s. I think we were 52 at that time. And her doctor said it was pancreatic cancer. She's going in for surgery. She said she was scared. I did not get that phone call in time because I was in the hospital. When the next phone call I got was the next day from her 19-year-old son saying she's gone.
Oh, wow.
She's gone.
Sorry
And
to hear
at that point, I said, enough is enough. I vowed to myself I would never again find myself in a hospital because I could be of no use to anyone from a hospital bed.
Right.
And I was going to nip this in the bud. I did not know how. I did not, like I said, I was not around vegans at all to know anything about that. But God heard my vow and brought across my path not just, some new way of eating and some new food, but he brought me the whole chef. Okay.
Right.
I met an award-winning gourmet raw food chef. And actually we knew each other years and years back. Our mothers were best friends way back in the early 60s. And so I was being reintroduced to this person who had the answer for me.
Right.
I learned about the molecular structure of food and how it changes at different heat levels.
That's right.
That is why for me to go raw was not. I know some people will say as a raw vegan, you shouldn't even eat honey. You should not even eat honey because bees have eyes. They say you're not eating anything with eyes or a mother.
Yeah.
That's how you determine it.
Yeah.
Well, I do it for health reasons. And yes, when you see these films of how they're skinning these animals and all that, yes, I could do it for moral reasons as well. But at that time, I was learning the science about it, and I was doing it for the health of it. And so cooking food above a certain temperature, it changes the structure. That sugar and those starches, it changes into carcinogens, which is cancer causing element components.
That's right.
And so then also these processed foods, you have additives, you have these additives and chemicals that are put in there to make them last longer on the shelf. Well, guess what? They last longer in your body, which is like not good.
That's right.
Those are all the fake foods, huh?
That's all the fake foods. So when you go to the real foods, the live foods, and that was what I learned about how the live enzymes, what they do, to your body to give you the energy, and then your body knows what to do with that stuff, and it excretes what is not needed. It turns what's good into energy, and your immune system is boosted. Almost every disease that is out there, it is due to, when you fall prey to these diseases, it's because your immune system is too weakened to fight it off.
That's right.
And so the main thing is to get your immune system strong, and then you can begin to work, you let your body do what it's designed to do. So after I started eating a totally raw diet, now this is fully nutritionally dense. We're not talking just some little carrot sticks and celery sticks and such. We're talking, something that has like hundreds of nutrients in it.
That's right.
And phytonutrients, and just I did that for 7 days straight, and every single symptom that I had been dealing with for 12 years was gone.
In 7 days.
7 days.
What were some of those real foods you ate, Terri?
Well, there's a whole lot of. We have a whole. There are foods that just have a whole.
Just a few, because we're going to talk about your book later, and I think you have some recipes and things. But just give us a few.
For instance, we make meals with cashews. We make meals with carrot pulp. Now, when people juice their carrots, they tend to just throw away the pulp because they figure there's nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
You save that pulp. That pulp goes in so many meals that we make.
Yeah.
One of the meals we call untuna because it tastes just like you're eating tuna.
Yeah.
And you would never know that it's just made with carrot pulp in it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Another easy dish is bulgur wheat tabbouleh. So that's using the grains. Bulgur wheat is from the Mediterranean area of region of the world, and it's lots of good grains come from those parts. You have the lentils and the spelts and all that. But we make a bulgur wheat tabbouleh, and again, that's using the bulgur wheat, and then that's using the carrot pulp. And then when you add organic barbecue sauce, you add red onions, and you add some curry to it, and some little bit of jalapeno. It tastes like sloppy joes.
Oh,
so you would not, a person would think that they're eating sloppy joes. You wouldn't even have to tell them that they're eating all good, all natural stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
It's good. And 7 days, that's really good. So we need to take a break. Ken, you had something you wanted to say quickly.
Well, I was just going to say that, sometimes I'll add the carrot pulp. I'll add it to the juice just for fiber content because because fiber, as it moves through your intestinal tract, it expands with water. So it starts to push all the stuff through your intestinal walls. So that part of it, juicing, cleansing, 7 days. Many people, they go through 7 years, 17 years, 27, 37 years of diabetes, but can't even fathom taking 7 days out of their lifestyle to change.
Get healthy and just
change is the most challenging thing for most people.
Yep. I've talked to people when I was diagnosed way back before I really even knew the right thing to do, but I was just trying anything. I would just research, and I started reaching out to people who I found had sarcoidosis, and some of them were on, their 5th year of prednisone. Taking 40 milligrams of prednisone a day. It's just it's not good at all.
No,
but yet to ask them to make one little change, and let's at that time all I knew to do was get rid of white flour, white rice, white sugar, white bread, and even to do that, an anti-candida yeast diet, even that, what I came to the conclusion was that sometimes people just really they like to have an excuse for, or I don't know, you become more comfortable. Not an excuse, you
I think that's it, because we've been so conditioned to eat all this processed, go get some fast food quickly. And Ken is my oldest child, and I just didn't raise my kids on McDonald's and Burger King and all that fast food stuff. Not that I didn't take them there maybe once every month or every other month or so, and they would get angry, but now they appreciate it because they're healthier as a result of it. And my other son that came down with the cancer, I don't know, and nobody seems to know what happened, why, I don't know. But it's not because they didn't eat healthy, because I grew up eating homegrown. I grew up in Louisiana, and we raised all of our gardens. Nobody was it was almost unheard of to go to a doctor. Between being born and going through high school, I think I remember going to the doctor one time for a stomach ache. And I mean, we had all kinds of things that home natural remedies, and they worked. They worked. We weren't sick like these kids are now. So we need to take a quick break, and then we want to come back and we want to talk about the keeping a health journal, and because we'll only have a few minutes left when we come back, but we want you to briefly tell us a little bit about keeping a health journal and about your book. And I apologize for not getting a chance to get your book and read it, but I will get it for sure.
Okay, no problem.
So let's take a break, and we're talking to our special guest here, Terri Liggins, about the Law of Raw, health tips and reclaiming your 2016 fitness goals. And we'll be right back.
This edition of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, is brought to you by L. Hicks Consulting Services. When you want the best in business coaching, life coaching, or perhaps your organization, business, or company is in need of a dynamic speaker for an upcoming workshop or seminar, contact Louise Hicks for L. Hicks Consulting Services at 1-562-310-1495. From anywhere around the world, that's 1-562-310-1495. For more information about Louise Hicks and her consulting services, visit her website at www.louisehicks.biz. Again, that's www.louisehicks.biz. Or call 1-562-310-1495. L. Hicks Consulting Services, where professionalism is top priority.
Okay, we are back and we are talking with our special guest here, Miss Terri Liggins, who is Skyping in with us from Las Vegas, Nevada, I believe. Aren't you in Las Vegas, Terri?
Yes, I am.
Yes, and we
sunny and hot Las Vegas.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, it's hot here too in Southern California. We're hot out here in Hollywood too. But we're having a great conversation about how to live our best life, and Terri has been giving us some great health tips. She and Ken know more about this than I do. I mean, I'm learning a lot from Ken, my son. He teaches me a lot because he's more of the expert on this. We're not doctors, neither one of us, but he knows a lot about this. Being what's your title, Ken? I forget sometimes.
I got a bunch of them actually.
He got a bunch of titles here, but
yeah. I got a few of them.
But he knows a lot more about this than I do. But you were talking about having a medical buddy. Now, we know that is important because when you go to, I tell anybody, when you go to the doctor, and we have, I guess, about 3 or 4 minutes left, but when you go to the doctor anywhere, when it concerns your health, why is it important to have a medical buddy? And then we want to talk, because it kind of goes hand in hand with keeping a medical journal, too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yes, definitely. Well, you need a medical buddy because you need someone who is going to sit there and take notes while you are listening to the doctor. A lot of times the doctors tend to forget, unless you remind them, they tend to forget that this is not your job, that this isn't your field, and so when they're speaking their language, it's not always something common to you that you can just listen and remember that stuff. And so many times people think, oh, I'll remember what he says. No, you won't remember it. And especially if it's not a good report, your brain goes into mush mode or
That's
something,
right.
Hearing the information. So you need someone who is going to tell the doctor, and my doctors would know when I was being treated way back then, I had created my own journal. That's what happened. I went looking for something that I can keep track of stuff, and I couldn't find it. So I said, well, I must, it must mean I need to create one myself. Mm-hmm. And my profession is a writer, and so writing is important to me. So I got a journal and got it trademarked and everything, designed it and everything. And so the doctors knew when they saw me coming that it wasn't going to be a quick 3-minute, quick in and out type of visit. So I would say, wait a minute, what did you say? Repeat. If I didn't have a friend with me, my best friend, she would come with me. If I didn't have her there, I would tell them, back up, repeat that, let me write it down, spell it even for me.
Right.
So that is so very important. And so from that, because I am a writer, I'm actually a ghostwriter by trade and a editor. And so I just tell people that writing about this, and this is how the whole book came about. It's an ebook, and it came about from me journaling my whole first year of being well from going raw. And so I now teach workshops as well, and workshops on how to just because writing is therapeutic. Journaling is therapeutic.
Right, very
so
much
it
so.
all goes hand in hand in getting your wellness together. And even the word raw, when I say get your raw on, I don't want people to be turned off thinking, oh, I'm not ready to eat raw, I'm not ready to go to a plant-based only diet. Well, raw stands for reach and win. So that means wherever you are, start somewhere. do something, even if you do 60-40 raw, if you do just 2 days a week, adding greens and things to your diet, that helps.
That's right.
And first and foremost, writing about it, because what I often say in my workshops, you can't change what you're eating until you change what's eating you.
I like that. Say that again.
That's right.
Yeah. you can't change what you're eating until you change what's eating you.
I like that. That's a good motto or philosophy to follow, because you really do. We have to look internally at ourselves and look at our bodies too, and how we're getting around, because it's too many of us now around. I'm 65, like I said, and we're on walkers and canes and in wheelchairs. I'm not on any medication, and I'm grateful, but that's because I take my health serious, and I don't let a doctor bully me and tell me what I should do and shouldn't do without finding out why and questioning this doctor and researching for myself. And you did mention a lot about researching, and sometimes we don't do that, and we need to take charge of our health, and we just don't. Particularly in the Black community, a lot of that is going on. Diabetes, high blood pressure. I mean, they got some permanent clients and patients, and we got to start watching all of this stuff and reach and win. I like your raw, and I was going to mention that, but I'm glad you said it again, because we do need to reach and win and become raw. Really raw. I like that.
Raw. Yeah. Yeah, and we have to just start the conversation somewhere. You know, the conversation will lead to many other things. We go to family reunions, and we see year after year, we see the people getting larger and larger, and it's not just about having a thin body and shapely body. It's not about that. But when you know. And I don't look at the outside. When I see someone that's overweight, immediately what I see are the organs that are being overworked.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And it's just not good. And we had a family member, he was only 50 years old when he died, but yet prior to that, year after year, every reunion, I know that everyone saw how large he was getting. Why wasn't somebody just really, really stepping in and saying something?
That
and in
medical
my book,
buddy, buddy can be a lifesaver.
Yeah, so it's just, we just have to start the conversation and just not be afraid of living foods. It's not, when I try to present it to certain people, they think that you're trying to give them something from outer space.
Right. It's like a
but,
foreign language almost.
Yeah, but we have to keep doing it. So how's your health now, Terri? And then we need to get some final thoughts with the sarcoidosis. Are you okay? You on medication, or how are you doing with that? May I ask?
Okay, sure. Yes. No, I have not taken medication in umpteen years. I won't even take an aspirin.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now you hear that, audience. She was diagnosed, and look at her now. That makes a difference because she took control. She went raw. She reached to win, and she's winning. She has won. So that's important. So give us some final thoughts on how to get in touch with you, Terri.
Sure. And let me just say, even when you get to a certain point where you have taken charge of your body, you will just even know. Like even this little incident I had on my ankle, I sensed that it was more of a spider bite or something. I knew that, and so now I just wanted to just rule out, okay, let me because my mom and everybody's concerned and worried, like, okay, get it checked out. But I wanted to make sure and so that I know how to treat myself. I take garlic is a natural antibiotic.
Yes.
So even after I had been taking garlic for the last day or so, the swelling has been going down. So it's like when you are in control of your body, it's not like you're saying that all doctors are bad, but you don't need to go to a doctor unless have a broken bone or some trauma or something.
Absolutely.
So I just want people to be empowered.
And show her book, Terri's book, and tell us how to get your book. We have a picture of your book here. I love your cover of your book.
Yes.
Love it.
Thank you. Yes, Get Your Raw On, and you can find it on Amazon. Right now it's an ebook, and you can just download it straight from Amazon. Or I can actually, let's see, Get Your Raw On from my website.
Yeah, what's your website?
And that's very easy. It's just law-raw.com, LAW-RAW.com. And the the law part is because, as I said, I do have a master's degree in health law, and allows me to really just see things from the whole policy side of things, as well as the food side, experiencing it from a living, just live plant-based angle, that it's there for us. The food has been put on this earth for us to enjoy. It talks about it in the Bible, in Ezekiel, and in other chapters that tells you what to eat. But we want to go and eat what the manufacturers
Don't
tell
even
us to
get
eat.
me started on that part about the
We
Bible.
want to meet
Genesis 1:29.
Yes,
but we'd rather
How many
eat that
people are
fake
really
food.
following that? You know,
all our Christians out here, and when you go to church, I know I have, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but I've seen some of my most obese and overweight people in the church. And that's sad, because we should be learning from what the Bible does tell us about eating habits. And it's really sad, but we can have you back to talk about some of these, because I know when in an hour we can't cover everything, and I want to read your book and come back, and Ken knows a lot more than I do. We can really get into some of the meat and potatoes of this, because especially around the holidays, maybe that's when we need to have you back.
Oh my!
And by that time, I will have gotten your book and read it.
Yeah, which holiday? And let me tell you, the Thanksgiving, I mean, not Thanksgiving, 4th of July, which just passed. 4th of July is the deadliest holiday.
Oh yeah, we know it really is. So
yes, and it's supposed to be the Independence Day, and what it does, it makes us dependent.
It really does, because all that pork and ribs and barbecue and just meat, it's a lot. But anyhow, we need to wrap it up. So if you want to give your website one more time, and we repeat what you said earlier one more time, and we're gonna
repeat the what part?
What you eat, how you change your life by what you eat, so forth. I think it was something, some sentence. I really love what you're saying, but that's all right if you don't.
No, it's you can't change what you're eating until you change what's eating you.
Right, what's eating you.
Yeah.
And that's
we have
so
to learn to eat from a scientific standpoint instead of an emotional standpoint.
That is so true. Emotional eating is not healthy. And we thank you for coming on, Terri, and show the book one more time. Go out and get her book. It's on Amazon. It's an ebook. Get Your Raw On, and Reach and Win. And her website again is
it's law-raw.com.
And thank you so much, Terri.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it, and I look forward to many more conversations like this.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. And as we always part, remember, your power lies within you. Let it loose. Until next week.